Happy Feast of the Epiphany. The Feast of the Epiphany is doubly special because it was on this feast that our congregation, the Maryknoll Sisters of St. Dominic, was founded over 100 years ago in the year 1912. Thanks to the first three wise women of Maryknoll, as we call these pioneers, they dared follow their star that guided us through this incredible journey across continents. As you may know, our congregation was founded for foreign mission. In the gospel selected for today, we see the three Magi following the star into Bethlehem, where they find Mary, Joseph, and their newborn child Jesus. A family of lowly means, they are huddled in the only space available they could find. The tone is upbeat as we read. The Magi were overjoyed at seeing the star, and on entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother. They prostrated themselves and did him homage. Then they opened their treasures and offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. This peaceful scene is short-lived, as the family must leave in haste to seek safety in Egypt, as was the instruction received by Joseph in a dream. In that same night, to borrow a modern term, they became refugees. They must travel a great distance through the desert, over some rough terrain, in possibly hostile environment. This is not unlike the journey through the desert that the thousands of migrants and refugees, these asylum seekers, experience as they seek safety and, God willing, a new life across the border. They too are driven by a will to choose life instead of facing an inevitable slow, if not quick death, physically, mentally, emotionally, and before long, face a spiritual starvation and death. To stay in their homes and in their own land, therefore, is not an option. They must leave. But where? When in the dark, look to the stars for direction. Trust in the promise. Rise up in splendor, Jerusalem, your light has come. The glory of the Lord shines upon you. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick clouds cover the peoples. But upon you the Lord shines, and over you appears his glory. Like the Magi who followed the star, the asylum seekers too must follow their own star, hovering over them, trusting, believing, and moving forward and onward to what is life-giving. They must choose life, not death. They rise and go meet the one who comes, Jesus, the Christ who gives them life. Because of our familiarity with cross-cultural work overseas and living in a culturally diverse community ourselves, ministry to immigrants and refugees is not new to us. From the beginning, we make welcoming the stranger a priority, since as missioners, we are in fact the strangers in foreign lands. Hospitality is like a revolving door. The guest and the host take turns changing roles. Pope Francis has spoken about the worldwide phenomenon of migration and the role that the churches, religious and faith communities play in this important ministry of hospitality. He said at the 104th World Day of Migrants and Refugees in 2018, "Every stranger who knocks at our door is an opportunity for an encounter with Jesus Christ, who identifies with the welcomed and rejected strangers of every age. A change of attitude towards migrants and refugees is needed on everyone's part. Let's move away from a fearful and defensive attitude, from indifference and marginalization, towards a healthy attitude based on the culture of encounter. Our community has joined others in responding to the call for volunteers to serve at the US-Mexico border. I was part of a team of Maryknoll Sisters who work at Casa Elita's Welcome Center in Tucson, Arizona. There at the border, we welcome weary travelers from different nationalities, all seeking refuge in the United States. One such traveler was a 9-year-old boy from Guatemala in the company of his mother. He was carrying a stuffed toy. Sister Joy and I took them to the airport at 4 a.m. that day. They only had $20 in their possession, which is not enough for a taxi fare, let alone for food while en route to their destination. Just as they were getting out of the car, the mother handed me the $20 bill. "No," I said, "use it for your trip." I accompanied them through the immigration and all the way to the gate. All smiles, the boy showed me his stuffed toy, and he said he sleeps with it at night in bed. They were both so grateful. Boarding time was finally announced, and I led mother and child to get in line. As we hugged and said our goodbyes, the boy suddenly raised his hand, giving me his stuffed toy as a token of appreciation. With tears welling up in my eyes, I suddenly remembered the story of the little drummer boy who was summoned by the Magi to the place where Jesus was born. Without a gift to bring, he played his drum and sang, "I am a poor boy too. I have no gifts to bring that fit to give my King. Shall I play for you, me and my drum?" Mary nodded. Then he smiled at me and my drum. As the boy was handing me his stuffed toy, I said to him, No, that is for you to keep, so you sleep well at night." I nodded approvingly at the boy's generosity. He smiled and waved goodbye.